This is a HeadGum podcast.
Universal FanCon is a brand new convention coming to the Baltimore Convention Center in April of 2018. FanCon will be a round-the-clock event featuring comics, cosplay, gaming, celebrity guests, music, and more with a focus on diversity and inclusion. Get your tickets now at universalfancon.com because geek is universal.
Hi everyone, I'm teaming up with the website rewire.news to explore the intersection of their work and mine on a brand new podcast called Get It Right. On Get It Right, we explore pop culture through the lens of justice, and particularly reproductive justice. I'll be talking to critics and creators about comics, movies, TV, music. Anything is fair game. You can find it now on iTunes or Stitcher. Just search for Get It Right or Rewire. Give it a listen and drop us a review with any ideas for what you'd like to hear us cover. See you soon. Hey, this is Steph Farwell. Join me bi-weekly at the Lemonade for all things nerdy and geeky, giving you all the sweet and sour notes from the nerd world, as well as my own special commentary to make this blend lemonade just right. Follow the Lemonade at Audio Boom, SoundCloud, Podbean, at the Points of Interest Network, and I'll see you guys soon.
Hi, everybody. This is Kari Payton, and you're listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast. Keep listening. It's good. It's real good.
Hi, I'm Mika Burton. I work for Rooster Teeth, and you're listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast.
Hi, this is Caron Pittman. I play Inspector Priscilla Ridley on Marvel's Luke Cage, and you are listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast.
Hey, what up, y'all? This is Jenny Ellis from HBO's Insecure, and you are listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast.
Hey, it's Sanaa Lathan, and you are listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast.
Yeah, this is Louis Tan from Marvel's Iron Fist. This is Black Girl Nerds. You guys are amazing. I love you guys to death. Check out the podcast. Check out the show. Let's get busy.
Boys and girls, it's the BGN. Coming from the Marvel world to the DC friends. All the way from Hollywood to the PCN. She defends everyone from sleazy men. Won't apologize for spitting Shonda rhymes. The space that we make is never colonized. We're talking games and movies and actors. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Yeah, better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Ha. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 122 of the Black Girl Nerds podcast. My name is Jamie, and I am your host. This episode is titled Ballers and Bright. Pretty simple. Our very first segment, we invite the cast of Ballers on HBO. Caron sits down on a one-on-one with actors Donovan Carter and Jazmyn Simon. Donovan plays Vernon, and Jazmyn plays Julie. Ballers airs every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on HBO. In our second segment, over at San Diego Comic-Con, had the opportunity to record the panel press conference for the Netflix film Bright. This press conference, featuring Netflix stars Will Smith, Joel Edgerton, Noomi Rapace, Lucy Fry, Edgar Ramirez, as well as director David Ayer, talked to us about this film. The movie Bright is set in an alternate present day where humans, orcs, elves, and fairies have been coexisting since the beginning of time. The action thriller is directed by David Ayer, and it follows two cops from very different backgrounds. Ward is played by Will Smith, and Jacoby, who's an orc, is played by Joel Edgerton. Hope you enjoy episode 122 of the Black Girl Nerds podcast. Ballers and Bright. Enjoy. Looking at the lives of former and current football players, this half-hour comedy series Ballers follows former superstar Spencer Strasmore, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, as he gets his life on track in retirement while mentoring other current and former players through the daily grind of the business of football. The following segment features actors Donovan Carter and Jazmyn Simon.
Hey guys, this is Caron with Black Girl Nerds, and what could only be described as wonder lit. HBO, the stars of Ballers, and Trap Karaoke took over Uptown in the Queen City of Charlotte. Black Girl Nerds was there, and I'm here to tell you no detail was left to chance. Hosted at the Fillmore in Uptown, Charlotteans cheered and sneered during the viewing of the premieres of both Insecure and Ballers. Coming up, I spoke with two of those stars, the gentle giant Donovan Carter, who plays Vernon Littlefield, and Jazmyn Simon, who plays Julie in the series. We talked about all things life, love, and what it means to be a baller. So tell me, Donovan, what's it like for you? You come from the world of sports. You were a star athlete in college, and now you're on this incredible show going into the third season. How's your life changed?
It's definitely been different. People recognize me a little bit, stare at me sometime, want a picture. But it's been cool, though. It's been a blessing, man. God is good. I just happy people just watch the show and tune in and excited for the new season.
Are you shy?
Nah, not really.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
not really.
Okay.
I mean, it take always for everybody, it take you a minute to open up. But man, I got a pretty own personality. I'm a people person.
Yeah. So what do you do in your downtime?
Downtime, work out, sit. I'm in LA, so sit in traffic a lot. Like to play dominoes. Like to hang out with my friends. Just have fun. I'm all about just having fun. Go to church. Just a pretty simple guy.
So when it comes to your personality versus your character,
Right.
What is the thing that is the furthest thing apart from the two of you as far as your identity, who you are?
I would say just kind of the mistakes Vern makes. I think for me, I kind of like to learn my mistakes fast and learn from other people's mistakes. But I think with him, he kind of has to go through things. Some people have to learn things the hard way. And Vern, he one of them dudes. He got to go things the hard way because he just don't know any better. At the end of the day, he didn't really have a lot of mentors growing up.
Yeah.
Him and Reggie, they came from the hood, and now they got all this money, all the success. And it just, for everybody's different for people to handle. And it just shows you how important it is to have the right people around you, your circle. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Everything else, I mean, I'm a young guy like Vern. I got a good heart like Vern. You want to take care of people, you want to help them out. You want to, help your family out. You kind of always want to say yes, and sometimes you got to step back and think about, about yourself at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. I think everybody has a Vern in their lives.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, when was the last lesson you had to learn the hard way?
I'm learning every day, honestly. I learn something every day. But I mean, just right now, with everything going on, with acting and all this stuff, you just meet a lot of different people. So I just keep my circle small.
Yeah.
Can't let everybody in, and just, I'm just cautious about that friend. Not everybody's your friend out here. So.
That's true. What's your favorite time of day?
Favorite time of day? Man, all day, every day is my favorite time. I gotta say the morning because I'm always blessed to see another day. Gotta say the morning.
Favorite thing to eat?
Favorite thing to eat? I like Asian food, so I like Chinese food. I like sushi, so I'm a big Asian cuisine guy.
Okay. Favorite pair of shoes?
Favorite pair of shoes? I'm a Yeezy fan, so I like Yeezys. I like Jordans. That's my favorites.
Favorite sport?
Football.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Favorite show?
Favorite show? Ballers.
Ballers.
Of course.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you, Donovan.
You too. Take care.
So there you go. All encompassing.
It is such a pleasure to meet you. You
Same,
are so
likewise.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, girl. You want to be best friends?
Girl, we can do
Let's
that.
do it.
We can do that. Okay, so my first question to you is, what is it like being a part of this boys' club?
You know what? It's weird and exciting. It's weird because you see behind a curtain that you don't normally get. They say stuff around me. They're burping and farting. I'm like, I'm a lady. But they treat me like one of their own. I know all about their dating habits, their wives, I know everything. But it's cool, I feel like this role has given me an opportunity to be in a very male-dominated field, as in football, but she's such a strong woman that she can stand her ground in this world. I mean, she's breaking so many different stereotypes. When you hear football player's wife, you automatically think of something, and usually it's negative.
Usually it is.
You know, you think gold digger, you think wag, you think a whole lot of makeup to the gym. You know, you just think a lot of stuff that is the exception and not the rule. There's women that just love these guys, and these guys play sports, and shoot, they build a family and have lives just like everybody else. And I'm fortunate enough to kind of step in and show that.
Well, your character's going through quite the transition with her own family. I know we have a lot to look forward to in this season, but what can you tell us about her? How does she transform through this season coming up?
I think that the first 2 seasons, she definitely tried to help Charles get his stuff together. He was leaving football and went to car salesman, then back to football. Then he was the assistant GM at the Dolphins with my fiance, Dule Hill. Shout out to Dule.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah. I'm engaged to Larry Seifert.
I need to let you know.
It's supposed to be on my other hand. My finger is swollen because of the heat. So I had to put it on my right hand.
You guys know who I am. I'm the pimp, and I'm here to tell you that this is stunning. It's as stunning as you. It's beautiful.
Thank you. He did good.
He did so good.
He did good.
Girl.
Yeah, he did.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you. Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Won't he will?
He will. So, yes. So you see him working with Larry Seifert in the front office, and Julie's always there to kind of push him forward. And in season 3, she kind of goes to work herself. And she reminds, again, she's always there for Charles. Charles always needs her. But in this season, we see that.
And she's a physician.
She's a doctor. And no one ever really knew that. But this season, you'll see that. And she reminds him that she doesn't need help with her job. He's the one that always needs help with his. And she kind of, starts doing her own thing work-wise, which I'm very excited about because that's another aspect when you think football player's wife. You don't ever think that they go to work. And they do. They raise a family. She's a mother, she's a wife, and she's a doctor.
What can you say to that dynamic between the wife who is brilliant and accomplished, and she marries someone like an athlete or a celebrity? What is your personal take on that dynamic? Someone who is powerful in their own right, but may not necessarily have the celebrity to go with it. When they link up to someone who is a part or in the public eye, do you think that's a difficult life? Do you think it's a challenge within the marriage?
I feel like, I can speak to it personally because my fiance is a working actor. He's worked since he was 10 years old.
A brilliant working actor, yes he is.
Emmy-nominated, brilliant working actor. His plays and musicals have been nominated for Tonys. His shows have won several Emmys, so he's just phenomenal. And he's been in the game much longer than me. So a lot of times I go out and they'll be like, excuse me, hey, Dule. And I work, I'm on TV, but if you love the person, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, I am the person that will take all the photos. I am the person that takes all the photos when his fans come up to him. Oh my gosh, you're from Psych. I'm like, give me that phone. Let me take the picture because it's all about support. When people, recognize me, he does the same thing. It's really not about what the person does, but who the person is. And I think that's the biggest misunderstanding about dating a celebrity or an athlete or anybody. It's like, who do you fall in love with? What they do is secondary. Because, see, tomorrow, Dule could say, I'm done acting. And if I love him for the wrong reasons, then it's never going to work. But because I love him for the right reason, and Julie in the show loves Charles for the right reasons, doesn't matter. Be a car salesman, be a stay-at-home dad, do whatever you have to do. But I love you, and that's all that matters. And I think, people should do a lot more of that.
Now, Jazmyn, you're a self-proclaimed black girl nerd, so tell me, what is your nerd behavior?
Oh, my gosh. I snort when I laugh. I read science fiction novels. Yes! Harry Potter is my favorite. I'm going to Comic-Con to geek out next week.
You got to come to Universal Fan Con.
Invite me. Okay.
We sure will.
Okay. You got my info. Like, I'm a lip sync a trap karaoke song, but I know musicals. I'm a nerd. Y'all, I'm a nerd.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
The following segment is from the press conference Bright over at San Diego Comic-Con.
Will Smith, I'm on walks on the beach. I'm just jawless. I'm not doing this thing.
I'm Lucy Fry. I'm an actress. I'm Lucy Fry. And I'm an actor.
Yeah! I'm gonna go from here to an actor. Yes!
Great, let's start with Fred right here in the front row.
I have a question for Will.
What up, Fred?
And Ken, you said something really beautiful about how this generation watches movies both on Netflix and in theaters. And I think that as much as there might be a knee-jerk reaction to something new, there can also be a tendency for people to become so obsessed with something new they abandon the old ways. So how do you see watching movies on Netflix and in theaters evolving side by side?
Yeah, well, Edgar and I were talking about it earlier, and I have a 16-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 25-year-old at home. So their viewing habits are almost anthropological. It's a great study to be able to see how they still go to the movies on Friday and Saturday night, and they watch Netflix all week. So it's two completely different experiences. But it's definitely a different experience. I don't think anyone's trying to say that it's an identical experience. I was talking earlier. I was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so people would see me on the street. It was like, Will. And then Independence Day came out. And that Monday after Independence Day came out was the first time that anybody referred to me as Mr. Smith, right? So there's definitely something about that big screen that penetrates people in a very different kind of way. But it's a different medium that I think net. See what I'm saying? That's almost like a pun, right? But not, right? Like net. Neighborhood. The neighborhood's like punish.
But it's also like
Thank you.
My son invites his friends over and they watch films like on a projector on the wall, Netflix. He watches Netflix almost every day. But there was like a friend of his that didn't have money to go to the cinema, and he was like, "Oh, look, we're gonna watch a Netflix film instead." And he invited all his friends, and then not everyone can see it together. So it's like, as you say, it opens up opportunities, but it's not the same.
Yeah, no, it's very different. I'm sure it was the same kind of vibe when the transition happened from theater acting, where you went to go see a play, and then someone decided they were going to film it and put it together and move it to a movie theater. I'm sure that the purists had that same kind of feeling, but it's different. It's not the same thing. It's something different. It's a new, almost a new art form.
I mean, for me, it's pretty simple. This movie, I got to make in a way, at a level that otherwise I may not have been able to make. And this was shot on the Lexus 65, which is state-of-the-art large format camera. When we were shooting Star Wars with these cameras, it was shot with the Lawrence or radio lens sets, cinemascope lenses, this beautiful old school glass. Everything technological about this is as if we had done a major feature. For me, the only real difference is just there's a lot more freedom and creativity, and it's less about how we're going to see this and more about like just having another cool place as a filmmaker to go make movies.
We have a question right here.
Question for Randy, specifically the job of playing and talking the story. The story is a real world story to some extent with very fantastical elements. Where do the real and the fantasy sit in relation to each other tonally? And where does this fall on either side of the line of how you navigate the line of playing in a real environment that obviously plays with some very fantastical storytelling?
It was very interesting. There's a lot of sort of movies that deal with fantasy or mash-up of reality and fantasy. A lot of them deal with an alien invasion in the sense that the world of the film is like there's been a sudden change. And what's interesting about this, and I reference District 9 because it was a film where there was a different kind of dynamic of society that had settled well before the movie, the first frame of the movie. And that there's something about this movie that it is akin to that. It's like, all right, it's real world LA, and you imagine that extends to the rest of the world too, and then all the characters or a lot of the characters of Lord of the Rings, or the types of characters, the elves, the orcs, they're all living in society, and society is settled just so, and it's settled with a lot of cracks, and the tectonic plates haven't quite worked themselves out. There's a lot of racism, there's a lot of issues. Society isn't exactly perfect, and the orcs fall because they were the servants of the Dark Lord 2,000 years ago. They're still paying for that. And I'm the first orc that's been allowed into the LAPD under a diversity program. And I'm really paying for that.
And the elves look down at the orcs like they're slaves. They're supposed to work for us, and then they break.
Yeah. The elves are like, not all elves. The elves are like Beverly Hills. The elves are like the 1%. And what was interesting is leading into it, playing an orc, I was like, oh right, I'm going to look like this sort of beast. I should play it in some sort of animalistic way. And then reading the script that Matt's had written and that David had tricked up as well, is that he desperately wanted to be a human being. He spent his whole life going to a human school, cut his teeth so that he could look more human, and it was studying what it was like to be a human being. So I thought I was going in this direction to play some animalistic version of an animal, and instead I looked like an animal, and I was desperately trying to be the most conservative human being that I could be, and it was a great challenge.
I think what the actors are talking about, which speaks to just a larger commitment to the movie, for authenticity. This is a drama that happens to be set in a world where there is a huge difference, but it is our world. It should feel like our world. David took great pains to make it look like our world. It was shot in Los Angeles, always at night, which is difficult, very difficult.
Yeah.
Fun for some of us.
For those of us that were sitting behind the monitor.
When there were restaurants nearby. But no, the commitment to this is real, and it really shows with these unbelievable performances by our cast.
But Joel, I'm sorry, the idea, it was spectacular for me as an African American playing a police officer that was racist against the first orc on the force. It's like the flip of those social concepts. And, it's like, as a black dude, you just don't get a lot of movies where you're the racist, Right. It was great. Hey man, I'm running to work in my car, You just never get to see that.
David, you said that you might not have been able to get this movie made at a studio. Walk me through what the alternate version, the alternate universe version of Bright might have looked like. Had you done that, would it have had to be compromised when it comes to budget? Were there certain creative things that you could have only done at Netflix?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm not going to have my client answer that question. I'll allow it.
Look, it's hard to quantify because I think every movie is a journey. The movie always takes the form it's going to take ultimately. So it's a little hard to speak for what could have been. I can't say that this is a movie that should have been. I got all the resources I need. I got to shoot in Los Angeles. We weren't chasing a rebate. We weren't shooting in Atlanta for Los Angeles. We got the equipment. We were able to shoot practical stunts, ridiculously complex shots. As a filmmaker, to spend more time working on the creative than working on the spreadsheet that supports the film is a true pleasure. And I think that changes how you come up with the movie and energy, and also changes how the cast comes up with the movie because they feel that freedom.
Rating.
Rating.
Sure. Yeah. And this is a rated R movie, and it would have been at a studio.
Yeah.
A lot of orcs nudity.
Yeah. Once you go work, you never go back.
You said you were surprised by the freedom you have with Netflix. Would you say you don't have the same freedom with the other studios?
No, I mean, it's just in this case, I just had a real sense that I was making something different, something special. I mean, I got to make the movie I wanted to make, and it's nice to be as a creative person in a trusted environment. So, I mean, Bright really is, I think, a unique film that has such a specific voice and it's such a unique thing, and yet it's done at such a large scale. I think people really would be surprised to see a film of this magnitude in this format.
I think what the major difference is the Netflix business model is different in a way because it's subscription based. What gets created is that their risk profile is different. So Netflix can make a hard rated R film for $170 million, right? So studios can't do that if the executive wants to be at work on Monday. Like, they can't, the risk profile, if they're going to spend $170 million, no, I'm not saying that's what this one was. No, that number was just in my head. I think I'm suggesting the next movie. But when you make a movie that expensive, you have to broaden the audience, which means that you have to be PG-13, right? So it is a huge decision where you make a film of that magnitude based on the risk profile. So at Netflix, based on the subscription, they can make anything for any number that they feel like their base is going to want to see. So as an artist, it's free in that way. It's just a lot of little ways that you get to be creative that get slightly just confined when everybody's jobs are on the line for the success.
That's the middle hand as well. It feels like if Netflix says yes, there's a yes, and then you can create in that, the space to create in next question.
It's
like
such
on the
a
road.
smart team.
Yeah.
It's Ted Sarando, Scott Stuber, Bowen. I mean, they're really top notch, and they're supportive and confident and allowing them to do your job.
And because they work off of specific data, they know ahead of time with the director of Suicide Squad and with me at this point in my career, and they go through and they have numbers on everybody. They add the numbers up and they say, yes, it works. They go and they know who's going to buy the movie even before you shoot it, right? So it's a completely different basis of how they work, that the trickle down is that between action and cut, we get to do whatever we want.
Question over here?
Yes, my question is for Mr. Ayer. You've depicted Los Angeles a few times on film. I was wondering, were there any parts of the city you finally got to explore, and was there anything you wanted to say about LA?
It's interesting because I think the last time I shot in LA, it was 8 years ago, it's hard to say, but the city has changed so much. It's absolutely transformed, and you take like the warehouse district downtown, which used to be where you could shoot, do anything, you could shoot machine guns and what have you, is now a very high-end arts loft district. Even Skid Row is developing. Even the classic South LA neighborhoods have evolved because there's been so much investment and so much development. So the old LA is really disappearing. I joke with the production designers how this film is actually going to become an architectural reference of the city, because there were locations where we were shooting they're pulling buildings down, they're pulling things down around our location, and we're like, okay, we would shoot this scene out before that building's gone. So it's as, LA is my city, I love LA. I'm starting to have to rethink what is my city, what does it look like.
Do any of the actors want to talk about that, the experience of kind of working in David Ayer's Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, for me, being from Australia, it was kind of the first time that I explored LA and downtown LA, and it was so exciting because it was like at night time, and we did night shoots the whole way through, and it would be like all the magical creatures would kind of come out of the alleyways, and then there would be like lizard people going through the garbage bins with like these big heads and like these sort of cloaks, and it kind of turned downtown LA into this magical, gritty world.
But also David is, I don't know how we find those locations. Like I've never seen places like that. And it was just
He was arrested.
Yeah.
So he knows that.
He knows that. Yeah.
Yeah. The things that he knows, as any great artist and director and visionary, he knows his subject very well. He knows his world very well. He, if I may say, I think David, you cannot, as any great artist, escape from your obsessions, and clearly that's the world that he knows very well. So when I first heard about David wanting to tell a story that was based in downtown LA, in East LA, but in a parallel universe, in a world that was going to be unique, I knew this guy was going to pull it off because he knows that world very well.
I grew up in Iceland, and they believe in elves and fairies and all that. So it's kind of my world merged into your world. It's like downtown LA, hard and harsh.
That's funny. I grew up in Iceland too. Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Venezuela, and we live in everything. So, and David understands that world very well as well. You know, he speaks flawless Spanish. I told during the panel that he used to direct me in Spanish, just to, you know, also make the others uncomfortable. And that's what it did. And it did. And that's an idea that we all absorb to just pull something out of ourselves, and it's great. It's a huge movie. It's a big movie. It's a big action film. But honestly, the way we speak about it, it felt like we just did an indie movie. You know, in a movie that would go to festivals, and that's how we shot it. So it's a great experiment. And I think that without Netflix, and as you said, the business model and also the vision that they have when we would have been able to do it, it's great to be a witness of such a profound shift in culture right now.
But we were like searching through the whole movie. It felt like we found the movie as we were going. Like the way David works, he's like exploring things every day and like constantly open and finding solutions on the spot, which becomes very creative and very fun and playful. Even if it's this big, massive ship behind us.
We have great scenes in Hamilton along the day.
Yeah. I mean, you probably shouldn't do that so much no more. You did it a lot.
Question back here.
Hey, this question's for Will. Will, you mentioned The Fresh Prince, and a lot of people are comparing your look in this movie to when you pretended to be Ashley's dad. Also,
that damn mustache. Hey, that's this guy, the mustache. I hated that mustache. It was so bad.
Also, you posted a bungee jumping video, and I don't know if you saw, but a lot of fans isolated like one moment where they said you
look like Uncle Phil, yeah.
I wanted to know, if you knew about those, what do you think about fans making those connections even today?
No, I love this. It is such a new world. Like I released my first record in '86, you know, so I'm over 30 years in the business. I've seen, you know, my first album, there were no CDs. Like, so it wasn't until my second album that they came out with these hot little discs called CDs, you know, so that I'm seeing that transition of essentially the fans being more and more involved in the creative process, you know, in terms of movie stardom. It's a huge difference. It's like you almost can't make new movie stars anymore, right? It's like, because there's a certain amount of privacy, and there was a certain amount of distance that you had from the audience, and only on July 4th did you have access. So that amount of access created this bigger than life kind of thing. But in the shift into this new world, it's almost like a friendship. Like with the fans, the relationship is, you know, less like the time of Madonna, Michael Jackson, you know, when you could make, you know, the Tom Cruise, these gigantic figures, because you can't create that anymore. The shift is to we're best friends. And then that's like with the comments and with those pictures and all, like I love trying to make that shift and make that transition into the new demands of the fans in this business.
Question back here.
Thanks for Will and David. So Christopher Nolan recently said that Netflix's film strategy was mindless, that he would refuse to work with them. Wonder what your reaction is to that.
Well, I think Mr. Nolan is a wonderful director, and I will not say anything that will keep me from being in his next movie.
Me too.
jump right into my old film, so I'm not gonna touch that.
And I don't like your attitude about this no more.
Thank you so much, Rollo.
I was wondering, because this is a universe, I mean, like, it looks like it could have potential to be a franchise, and I was wondering, what would it take for it to become a franchise, and how do you envisage a franchise on something like Netflix that may be different from...
Movies are movies, and this is a movie. If we do a sequel, we're going to tell more of the story, and then maybe we'll tell more of the story after that. I mean, that's what's so great about this universe that Max Landis created, is it lends itself to so much. And our discovery with the film and the audience is that they're very hungry to know more. What's the mythology? What's the history? How do these different races interplay with each other? What's the history of New York? So it's something that I think is eminently developable, and I look forward to the opportunity.
Developable is a good word. I like two B's in there. Developable. I don't want to ignore your question, but no, I think that there are certain things that you want to see on a big screen. It's like I remember the Christmas that Avatar came out, and our entire family, rushed out on Christmas Day to go with the glasses and all of that, So there's an experience, and specifically the type of films that Chris makes, like you want to see them in that space. It's like the venue is a part of the experience.
Question right here.
Yeah, this question is for Will as well as David. So you had mentioned, Will, earlier that it was a bit jarring for you playing a black officer that's sort of like, depicting these racist attitudes towards orcs. Will we see any sort of like state-sanctioned violence that you see police officers doing right now in the current state of our politics? Will we see those kind of dynamics played between law enforcement and also the orcs and the supernatural creatures?
Yeah, for sure. David isn't, let's say, he doesn't find a necessity to be delicate with those issues. But this is a film that is about enjoyment and entertainment, and those undercurrents and undertones of the film are, specifically for people to be able to think about it, not to make any judgment about it. It's like we're showing it, we're displaying the look and the feel. And there's a great scene where we're sitting we're looking at the police are coming, and something has happened with an orc, and the police are trying to subdue the orc, and my character is sitting specifically with Joel's character while the police are subduing the orc, and I ask him, I say, I need to know, are you a cop first or an orc first? And the backdrop of the scene is the cops taking down this orc, so it's a really, it's rugged, and it's powerful, and it's really bizarre for me to be on the other side of that. And we did ride-alongs with LAPD and with the sheriffs, and as an African American, it was really a different perspective for me to be in the back of the cars riding around with police officers in Los Angeles in predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhoods, and seeing the complexities from the other side of it.
I mean, for me, it's a movie, and it's a great story. It's supposed to entertain. There's people out there that think whose minds are closed, and they don't want to hear or see certain things. And my hope is that through the allegories and using these sort of metaphors about life, that maybe somebody who wouldn't be receptive or understand what's going on in somebody else's heart may open their eyes a little bit. And that's, I think, the best we can hope.
Question back here.
Actually, this is going to follow up on the question that was asked. Obviously these issues are very relevant in the culture, and kind of merging them with sci-fi is a great way to present it. But I think there's also a certain amount of delicate balance that has to be made between bringing awareness and putting that in the forefront, and then also still not having so much of it that it feels so heavy-handed that you distract from the audience. So what's the thought process, or was there even times throughout the film where you had to go back and say, okay, we need to take another look at this because this may not fly, or this may be too much, or this may be not enough?
I think every filmmaker needs a compass. You know, when I grew up in South LA. I saw violence on both sides. I mean, I lived it. It's still out there. Our children are still being eaten. You know, and there's people, you know, we only have one heart. How do you live in this world with two hearts, where on one side, you know, you belong to the group that you belong, you have people that you belong to. If you want to join society, and how do you change your heart to join a society that doesn't want you to join? And I've seen all these things,
But
you know,
it's also like it feels like your view of the world is like it's not so black and white. Like what is good and what is bad, what is evil, what is bright, what is dark. You know, it feels like you have a very kind of open and to me, your view on people and the world is very it's very wide and wise. And we were talking about like I'm the villain, and I'm, you know, you can say that my actions are very cruel and violent, but in my head, in my heart, I'm doing something good. I want to create a better space, a better world. And he's on the other side. He's a good elf, but not so good. So it's like everything is like we all have a lot of layers. Which
I'm very pointy.
No, but that's something like in all your films. It's like good and bad doesn't really exist. It's way more complicated.
You're too extreme to be true, to be bad.
It's very complex, and you know, it's issues of family and child rearing and substance abuse and family distance violence.
Kitty G is all over us, right?
I'm sure David's speaking.
We're complex, and but at the end of the day, like we're all the same, you know. So
yeah. One day we can do something really fucking bad, and next day we do something good.
Exactly.
We have time for one last question right here.
I just basically, Joel, want to know, what is the one thing we should know about on board? And actually, there's one thing we should know about. It's sexy as fuck.
Can you do the look without?
I can't. If you're willing to sit around and be patient and deal with 3 hours of makeup, I can give you the look. Look, there's a couple of beautiful things about orcs. They you know, they don't understand sarcasm or irony or humour. They're very well. My orc is very honest. And also, if you lie, I might not understand it in your inflection, but I'll smell it on you. That's what makes me qualified to be a cop. I can't take you into an interrogation room and be like, I didn't do it. And the cop's like, he's lying. I smell it on you. Yeah. But I'm a great, lovely, honest person that you can trust, even though I don't look so pretty. And in makeup,
About being an elf? What's the one thing we should know?
Oh, wow.
One of my favorite things was when we were in rehearsals and we were sitting at the back of the dojo, and Dave was kind of like talking us through what it was like to be an elf. And he was like, it's kind of like you're in a different state of mind, you're in a different realm to everyone else. And he was like, look at that sword, like what's that sword telling you? If the sword was talking to you right now, like what's it saying? So it's like they're taking in the objects, like they see through things and into things and things that people can't normally see.
But they're so wide awake. It's like they have like six senses like wide awake at the same time. So take in everything. They smell with the eyes and they hear, like they have everything. So they, you know, it's hard to escape. It's hard to hide.
We're looking at a never-ending trip.
Yeah.
We're tripping. And our senses are completely heightened all the time.
We couldn't hear, we couldn't see. We had elf ears, contact lenses, teeth, high heels, a suit. I couldn't move.
But from an orc's perspective, the elves are very attractive, very, very well dressed.
Yes.
Yeah.
My
And they're the
character-
aspirational ones. They're the ones living in Beverly Hills. Well, you know, better than that.
Totally. On
My
top of
character
the
had a
world.
thing with an elf once, and it didn't work out, you know, but, you know, it's like, I'll never forget Fluffy.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank
Say,
you.
get over there. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The Black Girl Nerds podcast is produced by Jamie Broadnax. Various episodes are edited by Jamie Broadnax, M.R. Daniel, and John Bauer. The opening theme song to our show is written and performed by Samus. Various instrumentals are performed by Samus, Sky Blue, and Shubzilla. You can find episodes of the Black Girl Nerds podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spreaker, and Spotify.
That was a HeadGum podcast.